Hey friends, how are you doing today? I hope you're feeling blessed and staying in God's presence, and if not, I hope you feel uplifted after today's video. If you're new here, welcome to His Princess Christian community where we read a chapter of the Bible every day and then discuss it afterwards and in the comments below. Don't forget to like and subscribe. It really helps the channel grow and it opens the door for more people to join our community. And while you're at it, check out the description box. We got a lot of great stuff in there. So today we're reading Numbers chapter 22, but before we get started, I wanted to say a prayer if you wouldn't mind bowing your heads with me. Dear God, thank you for bringing us together here on His Princess Christian community. Thank you for opening the door for people to join our community, for connecting us and strengthening our bond. Thank you for opening our eyes, our ears, our hearts, and our minds to your word. Thank you for your wisdom, understanding, and clarity as we seek to interpret your word. And thank you for the courage to apply it to our daily lives. In Jesus' name, amen. Okay, Numbers chapter 22. Then the people of Israel traveled to the plains of Moab and camped east of the Jordan River across from Jericho. Balak, son of Zippor, the Moabite king, had seen everything the Israelites did to the Amorites. And when the people of Moab saw how many Israelites there were, they were terrified. The king of Moab said to the elders of Midian, "This mob will devour everything in sight like an ox devours grass in the field." So Balak, king of Moab, sent messengers to call Balaam, son of Beor, who was living in his native land of Pethor near the Euphrates River. His message said, "Look, a vast horde of people have arrived from Egypt. They cover the face of the earth and are threatening me. Please come and curse these people for me because they are too powerful for me. Then perhaps I will be able to conquer them and drive them from the land. I know that blessings fall on any people you bless and curses fall on people you curse." Balak's messengers, who were elders of Moab and Midian, set out with money to pay Balaam to place a curse upon Israel. They went to Balaam and delivered Balak's message to him. "Stay here overnight," Balaam said. "In the morning I will tell you whatever the Lord directs me to say." So the officials from Moab stayed there with Balaam. That night God came to Balaam and asked him, "Who are these men visiting you?" Balaam said to God, "Balak, son of Zippor, king of Moab, has sent me this message. Look, a vast horde of people have arrived from Egypt, and they cover the face of the earth. Come and curse these people for me. Then perhaps I will be able to stand up to them and drive them from the land." But God told Balaam, "Do not go with them. You are not to curse these people, for they have been blessed." The next morning Balaam got up and told Balak's officials, "Go on home. The Lord will not let me go with you." So the Moabite officials returned to King Balak and reported, "Balaam refused to come with us." Then Balak tried again. This time he sent a larger number of even more distinguished officials than those he had sent the first time. They went to Balaam and delivered this message to him. "This is what Balak, son of Zippor, says. Please don't let anything stop you from coming to help me. I will pay you very well and do whatever you tell me. Just come and curse these people for me." But Balaam responded to Balak's messengers, "Even if Balak were to give me his palace filled with silver and gold, I would be powerless to do anything against the will of the Lord my God. But stay here one more night, and I will see if the Lord has anything else to say to me." That night God came to Balaam and told him, "Since these men have come for you, get up and go with them, but do only what I tell you to do." So the next morning Balaam got up, saddled his donkey, and started off with the Moabite officials. But God was angry that Balaam was going, so he sent an angel of the Lord to stand in the road to block his way. As Balaam and the two servants were riding along, Balaam's donkey saw the angel of the Lord standing in the road with a drawn sword in his hand. The donkey bolted off the road into a field, but Balaam beat it and turned it back onto the road. Then the angel of the Lord stood at a place where the road narrowed between two vineyard walls. When the donkey saw the angel of the Lord, it tried to squeeze by and crushed Balaam's foot against the wall. So Balaam beat the donkey again. Then the angel of the Lord moved further down the road and stood in a place too narrow for the donkey to get by at all. This time when the donkey saw the angel, it lay down under Balaam in a fit of rage. Balaam beat the animal again with his staff. Then the Lord gave the donkey the ability to speak. "What have I done to you that deserves your beating me 3 times?" it asked Balaam. "You have made me look like a fool," Balaam shouted. "If I had a sword with me, I would kill you. But I am the same donkey you have ridden all your life." The donkey answered, "Have I ever done anything like this before?" "No," Balaam admitted. Then the Lord opened Balaam's eyes, and he saw the angel of the Lord standing in the roadway with a drawn sword in his hand. Balaam bowed his head and fell face down on the ground before him. "Why did you beat your donkey those 3 times?" the angel of the Lord demanded. "Look, I have come to block your way because you are stubbornly resisting me. 3 times the donkey saw me and shied away. Otherwise, I would certainly have killed you by now and spared the donkey." Then Balaam confessed to the angel of the Lord, "I have sinned. I didn't realize you were standing in the road to block my way. I will return home if you are against my going." But the angel of the Lord told Balaam, "Go with these men, but say only what I tell you to say." So Balaam went on with Balak's officials. When King Balak heard that Balaam was on the way, he went out to meet him at Moabite town on Arnon River at the farthest border of his land. "Didn't I send you an urgent invitation? Why didn't you come right away?" Balak asked Balaam. "Didn't you believe me when I said I would reward you richly?" Balaam replied, "Look, now I have come, but I have no power to say whatever I want. I will speak only the message that God puts in my mouth." Then Balaam accompanied Balak to Kereth Huzoth, where the king sacrificed cattle and sheep. He sent portions of the meat to Balaam and the officials who were with him. The next morning, Balak took Balaam up to Bamoth Baal. From there, he could see some of the people of Israel spread out below him. Amen. So what did you think of Numbers chapter 22? I'm interested to hear about it in the comments below. Let me know what your insights or interpretations were on the chapter. Maybe comment your favorite verse, or just say hi and let us know that you're part of the community. And if you've been blessed lately, let us know so that we can rejoice with you. And if you need prayer, make sure you're putting that in the comments too so we can pray together as a community. Okay, so Numbers chapter 22. Oh, I just love this chapter because the donkey talks. But really, I just really love the way this chapter is set up because it really just gives us a great example of life, how we act in life itself. So it starts off with the Israelites traveling into Moab, and Balak, son of Zippor, the Moabite king, saw everything that the Israelites did to the Amorites, and he's scared. All of his people are scared. They were terrified. It says they were terrified. And so Balak sends a messenger to Balaam, son of Beor, and he says that, please come because these people are coming and they're threatening me, and I know that blessings fall on all the people that you bless, and curses fall on all the people that you curse. What he didn't know was that it's not him who gets to decide who gets blessed or who gets cursed. God decides who gets blessed and who gets cursed. Balaam was just the messenger. So he set out and with the money to pay Balaam. They went to deliver the message to him, and he said, Balaam said, "Stay overnight. In the morning I will tell you whatever the Lord directs me to say." So I wrote aside, pray overnight. So when people are coming to you asking you about stuff, make sure you don't just you're not impulsive with decisions. These big decisions like this, make sure you're praying overnight, especially when it comes to how you bless people. And if somebody's asking you for a blessing, maybe it's something financial, or they want your support in a certain matter. Make sure you're taking time to pray on it overnight versus just coming to a quick decision. So God told Balaam, don't go with them. You are not to curse these people, for they have been blessed. So God said, this is what God said. So Balaam told Balak's officials, he said, the Lord will not let me go with you. And Balak wasn't trying to hear that. He was like, what do you mean he wouldn't come with you? So he just sends more distinct, he says, a larger number of even more distinguished officials. So sometimes the enemy will tempt you with something, and then he'll come back with something that looks even better. So we have to stand firm in our faith. We have to stand firm on what the decision that God gave us is. But a lot of the times we do what Balaam does, and he goes back to God, which we're supposed to pray about every situation. So I'm not blaming him for going to pray about the situation. So he goes, so they went to Balaam, delivered the message to him again. He said, please don't let anything stop you from coming to help me, right? But you can't, the only thing that can, God can stop you. that's the one thing. Let God stop you from going places that you shouldn't be. So Balaam responded to Balak, and he said, even if you were to give me all the money in the world, pretty much, I would be powerless to do anything against the will of God. And that is the answer. Like, we should only be accepting of things that are within the will of God. It's not up to us, it's up to God. So that night, God came to Balaam and told him, since these men have come for you, get up and go with them, but do only what I tell you to do. So the fact that after God originally told him, don't go, because it kind of sounds like God is being double-minded in this chapter. Because at first he says, don't go with them. He says, don't go with them. You are not to curse these people, for they have been blessed. Then he says, get up and go with them, but do only what I tell you to do. So now he's saying get up to go with them. So, but as soon as he left to go, God is angry with Balaam that Balaam was going. So I feel like God was like, it was one of those situations where, like, have you ever told somebody, yeah, go ahead and go, but you really don't? When somebody asks you the first time, you're like, no, I don't want you to. And then they ask you again, you're like, fine, do whatever you want, but you're angry when they actually really do whatever they want instead of doing what you said when you said no the first time. So I think that it's important that we stick to, stand firm in our faith, like, because God's just going to say, okay, fine, go ahead and go. I told you don't go, but you're going to do what you want to do anyway, because you have free will. So go ahead and go. But when you get there, only do what I tell you to do. So, I feel like that's not God being double-minded. It's just him, like, giving into us, because at the end of the day we have free will, so he can only tell us what is best for us to do, but then he's going to get angry when we don't do what's best for us to do, and he's just going to say, fine, do whatever you want. Like, he gives us into our sin, fine, do whatever you want. But the way God works is similar to this situation, where he will not make the way smooth for us. God will not make the wrong way smooth. So if you feel like you're constantly bumping up against obstacles, there's a good chance, if you have something that originally God was like, don't do it, and then finally you feel like God's like, fine, go ahead and go, and you go ahead and head out, and then you're running up against obstacles every second, most likely that's God trying to tell you, like, this is not the right road for you to be on. So, it's different when God says, set out on this road, and then you run into obstacles. That's the enemy trying to persecute you. But if God originally tells you don't go, and then you go and you run into obstacle after obstacle, it's because God is trying to tell you this is not the right road for you. But he's, we do what we want, right? So in this situation, the donkey, so God was angry, so he sent an angel of the Lord to stand in the road to block him. And the donkey bolted off the road into the field, but Balaam beat it and turned back onto the road. So that's kind of like you get mad at whatever the obstacle is, or whatever's stopping you from, going the way that you want to go, instead of just giving in to God. So he does this a couple times. He hits him, he beats him. Then the Lord finally gives the donkey the ability to speak. And the donkey says, what have I done to deserve your beating me 3 times? And so sometimes your situation will speak to you and will say, like, why is this so difficult? Like, what is going on here? And then Balaam shouted, you made me look like a fool. And he said, if I had a sword, I would have killed you. And he says, but I am the same donkey you have ridden all your life. So do you ever get mad at the people who are around you for your situation? You're putting the blame on somebody who it's not their fault. It's really your fault for going down the wrong road. And this is kind of like that situation. And it says, have I ever done anything like this before? So then the Lord opened Balaam's eyes. And I'm like, why didn't he open his eyes to begin with? To see, like, the angel in the middle of the road, and maybe he would have turned around the first time, like, or why didn't, when Balaam came to him the second time, why didn't he just say, maybe God was, I kind of feel like God was protecting him by letting him go also, because who knows what the Moabite king would have done to him if he refused to even go. So, you have all these other things that we don't know, that God, God's Alpha and Omega. He knows the beginning from the end. So he knows what's going to happen. So that's why we have to also trust in him. But I'm like, why didn't he just show him the angel of the Lord in the street at first? And I feel like because he wanted it to be hard for him. He wanted it to be hard, all that time. So then he said, the angel of the Lord said, why did you beat your donkey those 3 times? And he says, I have come to block your way because you are stubbornly resisting me. So again, he told him to go, but he says, you're resisting me. So obviously there's something more going on in there, as far as you never know what Balaam had going on in his mind on the way there. Maybe he was like, yeah, I'm going to go ahead and, God said to go ahead and go, and I should, do what the Moabite king wants so he can give me all this money. You just never know what was going on, how he was resisting him, other than just him continuing down that path that God originally told him not to go down. Even though he said, go ahead and go. So, keep that in mind. Like, sometimes when God's like, go ahead and go, you still may be resisting him if you know that it's something that you have no business doing. So God told him that you are not to curse these people, for they have been blessed. And so he obviously knows that the only reason that king wants him to go is to curse those people. And so by him, he's stubbornly resisting him by going, because he knows that he can't curse those people when he gets there. So why even go, right? So then again, he says, so Balaam said, I have sinned. I didn't realize you were standing in the road to block my way. I will return home if you are against my going. So here Balaam says, I'll turn back around if you don't want me to go. And God says, no, go ahead, go with these men, but only do what I tell you to do. So he's like, no, don't, go ahead and go with them, but you're going for no reason, because you can't curse them when you get there. That's all I'm saying. Like, just go ahead and go, but just realize that you can't curse them when you get there. And so I think it's so interesting how God works, like how he's saying he's resisting, but he's like, go ahead and go. So it says, so then Balaam, when he gets there, he says, I have no power to say whatever I want. I will only speak the message that God puts in my mouth. And I wrote that, don't keep asking God for God's blessing when he has made his will clear. So don't keep asking God what he thinks of the situation when he has made it clear. Like, it's kind of like when you have a relationship and there's like 1,000 red flags and you're like, God, should I be with this person? And it's like, God was like, I've shown you all these red flags of reasons why you shouldn't be with this person. But if you want to, go ahead and be with them, but it's not going to turn out well. So it's like, you can't keep asking God for his blessing if he's telling you his will and he's showing you what his will is. And he's telling you, like he told him up front, these people have been blessed. You can't curse them. So there's no reason for you to go. And it's kind of like, there's no reason for you to go because these are types of things that you shouldn't be doing, those types of situations. So, Balaam keeps responding saying, I have no power to say whatever I want. He's like, I don't know why you want me to go or why you want me to come, because I can't say whatever you want. But I guess he was just appeasing him in that moment. And sometimes that's the way sin works. They want you to just get this far. And then you just keep getting in too deep. So you have to be careful and just not even go. Just don't even go. Whatever it is, just don't even go. Don't say, well, I'll just go and I won't have anything to drink. Or I'll just go and, you have people doing things that they have no business doing. I'll just go, but I won't involve myself in any of those activities. God's saying don't go at all. Like, don't even go at all. Like, there's no reason for you to go if you're not going to be involving yourself in those types of activities. So, these are those types of situations that you have to think about. So that is my interpretation of Numbers chapter 22. I'm interested to hear what you have to say about it. Leave it in the comments below. Don't forget to like and subscribe. And I hope you stay blessed, stay in God's presence, and have a great rest of your day. I love you.